One New Zealand political party wants to give away billions of dollars in tax breaks to landlords each year. And yes, it is probably the party you're thinking of. In today's video, I will rank New Zealand's political parties based on how much I personally think that their policies could impact landlords and property investors. For too long now, they have been scooping up all of the properties for themselves, which have pushed house prices up and led to the serious inequality problem New Zealand is suffering from today, and which has caused large numbers of young Kiwis to have to leave New Zealand for Australia to have a chance at a better life. I am going to count up from the smallest to the biggest impact that I believe each party's policies will have on landlords and property investors, because New Zealanders are heading to the polls in November and it's good to know the facts in order to make an informed decision for the good of the country. What I'm not going to do is tell you who to vote for and who not to vote for, because we all want different things. Who knows, maybe you are a caring landlord who wants to make your tenant's life better by voting for a party who wants to crash house prices so your tenants can buy their own home. Or maybe you are a renter living in an overpriced dog box who gets immense satisfaction out of paying for your landlord's 10-bedroom mansion and convertible Bentley. Everyone is different. So at number 6, we have the party who will keep the status quo, the National Party. Their reintroduction of the billions of dollars in tax breaks to landlords means that many landlords pay thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars less in tax each year. Now that is tax that somebody has to pay, and it might even be you. Now this tax break means that many landlords can still see a profit to be made, so they keep on buying up more properties and squeezing young and old, less fortunate Kiwi renters dry. And we also shouldn't forget that the National Party cut the bright line test from 10 years to 2 years, which is a dream for house flippers and is something that Luxon took full advantage of personally. National also brought back the 90-day no-cause terminations, so landlords can more easily get rid of tenants for no good reason. This cruel adjustment leads to more uncertainty for tenants, showing them exactly who the boss is, and it ensures that they do not in any way get too comfortable. After all, it's not their home, is it? The National Party have also signed up to the Indian Free Trade Agreement, which means lots more people coming into the country. And it's also worth mentioning that they are currently letting in over 100,000 new people per year, even before the Free Trade Agreement. This constant stream of bodies obviously keeps landlords happy. National also changed the foreign buyer ban, so foreign investors can buy properties valued at over $5 million now. Coincidentally, Luxon has a property worth over $5 million. The National Party have also said that they would not introduce a capital gains tax or wealth tax, meaning more money for landlords. At number 5, we have the ACT Party. They want no capital gains taxes and no wealth taxes, and basically no new taxes. The ACT Party have previously supported lowering the tax rate of high earners and trustees to 28%. ACT also supported changing the foreign buyer ban on property purchases and blocked a new stamp duty that had been proposed by National that was to be put on foreign buyers. ACT are also big supporters of the Indian Free Trade Agreement. And as we've already mentioned, more people coming into New Zealand equals more demand for rentals and richer, happier landlords. At level 4, we have New Zealand First, who are supposedly against high immigration. Now you would think that that would be bad news for landlords, but New Zealand First will almost certainly be a smaller player once again in a coalition government, and they did little if anything to cut immigration when in coalition with Jacinda and with Luxon. New Zealand First have also said that they are against the Indian Free Trade Agreement, but are happy to still prop up the parties who introduced it, which I do find a little hard to comprehend. New Zealand First have also refused to work with Labour, which gives all of the power to Luxon in any future negotiations. In my humble opinion, by doing this, Winston has played his cards too early and given up all of his leverage when he didn't have to. So disappointingly, in my eyes, a vote for Winston now can surely only be seen as a vote for Luxon, which is a vote for landlords. New Zealand First have also mulled the option of having the government buy houses alongside first home buyers in a cynical co-investment model, which anyone with half a brain cell can tell you would be bullish for house prices. If New Zealand First do this, then I will put them alongside National as being the biggest supporters of the overpriced New Zealand housing market. Landlords and property investors lick their lips at policies like this and other cynical policies like first home buyer grants, which are only created to increase demand and put a floor under house prices, and they are not in any way, shape or form introduced to help first home buyers. At level 3, we have Labour with their capital gains tax. Now, this is not a tax on your own home, so for most people it won't affect you. It does, however, affect investment properties and holiday homes. This new capital gains tax will only affect gains moving forward from July 2027. So in my humble opinion, the ideal scenario would be to absolutely crash the housing market now and then value all properties just before the capital gains tax comes into play, and then any price increase after that will be taxed heavily. This will disincentivize investing in property, which will put further downward pressure on house prices and enable more Kiwis to be able to afford a home of their own. When it comes to immigration, which puts upward pressure on house prices, Labour can only be regarded as very pro-immigration. Under Jacinda just before COVID, immigration levels were ramping up, and it was only COVID that halted it. And then in 2021, Jacinda created a one-off visa pathway for migrant families who were affected by COVID disruptions, and this granted residency to over 200,000 people during a housing crisis when house prices were going to the moon. A gift from heaven to landlords and property investors if I have ever seen one. So if it wasn't for the capital gains tax proposal at this time, I would put Labour just one level above National. Now it is going to be interesting to see if they reintroduce the removal of tax breaks for landlords or the tax loophole that they once called it. Surely any responsible party who have identified what they call a tax loophole would try and close that tax loophole as soon as possible. So this decision will show us if they really want to fight inequality or if they're just pretending to want to fight inequality. At number 2, we have the Greens. They have a diluted wealth tax, which is a 2.5% annual tax on net assets over $10 million. It used to be $2 million, which is why I've said diluted. The family home is exempt, so this wealth tax basically affects hardly anyone, just the very, very rich. What the Greens also have is the reinstatement of the 10-year bright line test and the removal of interest deductibility, or the tax loophole as Labour used to call it. Now this puts genuine fear in the heart of landlords and property investors. It is like kryptonite to mortgaged landlords. If this is reintroduced, then it will most likely put real serious downward pressure on house prices. Regarding immigration, I can't find any policy or specific numbers that the Greens are targeting. But what I would say is that if they are in any way a truly green party, then they should understand that more people puts more pressure on the natural environment. So any real green party would surely be against importing more people, but that is for another video. So let's look at the biggest threat to the overpriced New Zealand housing market. At number 1, we have the Opportunity Party. They've got some radical ideas. They want to bring in a land tax, which is an annual tax of 1.75% of the value of urban land and 0.5% of the value of rural land. Now this applies to all residential and commercial land. For the majority of homeowners, this sounds scary, doesn't it? But there is a twist. The Opportunity Party also want to introduce a universal basic income, which very often would cancel out this land tax and actually make most homeowners better off. The Opportunity Party have got a quick calculator on their website that is well worth doing, and I'll put a link to it in the description. It basically tells you if you would be better off or worse off under these policies. I did a quick poll yesterday on this YouTube channel, and out of 181 votes, 66% found themselves better off, 24% found themselves worse off, and 10% had no change. Now try it out and see how you get on. You might be surprised. I'll put a link to it in the description. If you haven't noticed yet, certain media personalities who have got a lot of skin in the game, who are very rich and sorted, and who own lots of rentals, are up in arms about this policy, and they are trying to make you frightened of it. The reality is that they are petrified that they may finally be about to lose the position of privilege that they have enjoyed for the past few decades. The Opportunity Party is the only party that I have seen who have actually stated that they want house prices to come down. Obviously, the Opportunity Party will find it hard to make this suite of changes a reality if they are only a small player in a coalition. So who knows what's going to happen. But it's good to see the fear in the landlord and property investors' eyes for once, because for too long, renters and potential first home buyers have been the ones full of fear. Now, the Opportunity Party also want to stop KiwiSaver being used as a first home buyer's home deposit. Removing this will take away another artificial support mechanism that is propping up the housing market, and it will allow prices to fall further. It will also stop young people's pensions being raided just to keep house prices artificially elevated. How this was ever allowed in the first place is beyond me. It's clearly not done to benefit first home buyers in any way, shape or form. It is simply generational theft. Now, I am not able to find out if the Opportunity Party wants to increase or decrease current immigration levels, so if any of you know, please put that in the comments below. Now, you will have noticed that I haven't put Te Pāti Māori on this list, but I was not able to find out what their specific policies regarding housing, tax or immigration are, so I won't make any assumptions at this time, and I will wait until they announce their policies themselves. So yes guys, all elections are important, but this election is very important. We may finally see some of the inequality that has been allowed to go unchecked in New Zealand for many years be addressed. And please don't forget, you must enrol to vote at least 13 days before election day. You can no longer just go to vote and enrol on the day. So make sure you enrol now. I have put a link in the description of where you can easily enrol online. And please don't miss your chance to make a difference. And if anybody knows of anything that I have left out or got wrong on this video, please put it in the comments so we can all get the correct information. And thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers for that.